family court didn't just take his kids, it shattered his identity. In the last video, I talked about how feminism dominates family courts, workplaces, education, and policy, both government and corporate. Today, we're looking into what that does to men's mental health. Now, if you've ever felt broken, bitter, or betrayed, this is why. And you're not crazy. Hi, I'm Jason, and yeah, I'm one of you who has suffered the emotional and mental consequences of living in the feminist-directed culture. In today's video, we'll go over some of the unfortunate outcomes of living through the out-of-whack systems of family courts, false accusations, workplace bias, and institutional favoritism toward women. And we will look at the types of help that is best for those emotional and mental health problems that men face. So let's dive into the mental health issues likely to arise from these scenarios and what can be done about it. Well, number one on our list is chronic anxiety and hypervigilance, which is caused by the false accusations, custody battles, legal threats, and unpredictable divorce outcomes. Now, the symptoms are constant worry, inability to relax, just that constant, intrusive thoughts that keep you awake or wake you up in the middle of the night, and the fear of future legal harm. Now, the recommended modalities, the things that we can do to kind of get through this mental health support, that what this channel is all about, is trauma-focused CBT, or TF-CBT. What it really is trauma-focused cognitive behavior therapy. And cognitive behavior therapy, trauma-focused cognitive behavior therapy, targets distorted thinking and trauma loops. Somatic experiencing for men with physical symptoms of hypervigilance, that tight chest and the shallow breathing, all of those syndromes that kind of go along with that. Somatic experiencing is really, really good for that one. Number two on our list is PTSD and its cousin, legal trauma syndrome. It's caused by family court trauma, being falsely accused, losing access to your kids, feeling emotionally raped by the system you can't fight. Now, the symptoms of these are flashbacks and intrusive memories, emotional numbness. Some guys just tune out and they can't even get in touch with their feelings. Distrust, absolute distrust of authority, uncontrollable, fear-driven behavior. When you get triggered, it drives you to doing something that you know is unproductive, negative, counterproductive, causes problem, but you can't not do it. Now, the recommended modalities for PTSD and its cousin is havening, number one. Number two is EMDR. Now, both are highly effective for false accusations and betrayal trauma. Any kind of trauma, they work really well on that. Internal family systems, or known as IFS, helps integrate fragmented identity after legal and relationship destruction. Narrative therapy allows men to reclaim and rewrite their personal story in the face of institutional betrayal. Number three on our list, depression and learned helplessness. It's caused by feeling powerless in court, alienated from your children when you can't do anything about it, and financial destruction. It results in men stop believing anything they do matters. Leads to deep depression, self-isolation, and even suicidal thoughts. High suicide rates amongst divorced and falsely accused men is off the charts. So how high? Well, it's enormous. Normally, in just regular day-to-day life, men commit suicide 4 times more than women. Yes, women do a lot of this high-level suicide ideation and pleas for help. But it's a question. Is it a plea for help, or is it a plea for attention? Is it a plea for, well, whatever they need there, or a legitimate plea for help? But the big difference is they don't do it and men do. And the huge difference is through the divorce process. Well, there's no change for women, but in men, oh my goodness, during divorce or shortly thereafter, as men have experienced all these problems, it jumps up 3 to 4 times more than it was already. That means for every woman that commits suicide, 12 to 16 men will during or shortly after the divorce. So what are the symptoms of this? Well, hopelessness, fatigue, low motivation, loss of purpose, and, as I discussed quite a bit, suicide, ideation, or actual suicide. The recommended modalities, well, CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, which helps you restructure thinking around control and agency. Group therapy with men. Peer validation and community are powerful against isolation. Existential coaching and logotherapy rebuilds meaning and masculinity post-trauma. So that's a great kind of a therapy that comes after your havening, so that you've kind of got a handle on the actual trauma, and then existential counseling or coaching and logotherapy. Fourth area is identity crisis and collapse. Essentially, masculinity suppression. It's caused by being demonized as a man. That's father, husband, partner, and the cultural narratives that frame masculinity as, well, toxic. All masculinity is toxic, abusive, or obsolete. Even when that man is the protector and provider, he's obsolete. Men often ask, what's the point of being a man? Masculine shame is embedded deep into the current culture. Now, I understand that deeply, deeply, deeply. I was raised by a single mother who was angry at men. I was taught all of my growing years that being a man was something to be ashamed of. I was ashamed of having a penis because, of course, that meant I was going to grow up to be just like my worthless, horrible father, who, by the way, wasn't any of those things. What are the symptoms? Well, shame about being male, indecisiveness, people-pleasing, confusion about your purpose or your power. Recommended modalities. What can we do about this? Well, the masculine archetype coaching. Focus on reclaiming healthy, grounded masculine energy. We know these as the warrior, the king, the magician, the lover. These are healthy masculine energy. Jungian depth therapy. Explore identity, shadow work, and suppressed drives. Men's purpose coaching. The rites of passage work. Rebuilding self-definition through masculine frameworks. These are so, so powerful. Attachment, wounds, and intimacy, fear, and avoidance. Number 5, attachment wounds and intimacy, fear, and avoidance. It's caused by divorce trauma, female manipulation, false allegations, loss of trust in women or the systems around you, betrayal from a spouse or partner. It leads to emotional detachment or clinginess. Now, men fear trusting again, or they become hyper-controlling to avoid pain. The sex drive may crash. Yeah, that's crazy, but it's true, because intimacy feels literally unsafe. Symptoms are avoidant or anxious attachment, fear of closeness, right? Hyper-control in relationships, and sexual dysfunction. So what are the recommended modalities of mental health help? Attachment-based therapy. This helps you rebuild relational security from the ground up. Schema therapy targets core wounds, abandonment, mistrust, abuse, and replaces maladaptive patterns. This may sound a little woo, but hey, sometimes woo is really, really important and highly valuable. Tantric or somatic sex counseling. That's right, men's focused tantric or somatic sex coaching to restore embodied intimacy and sexual confidence post-trauma. Number 6 is anger, bitterness, or what many people know as red pill rage. It's caused by betrayal, injustice, misandry in institutions. And for those of you not familiar with the word misandry, it simply means hatred of men. So misandry in institutions. After betrayal, many men enter the red pill rage phase. They mistrust all women. Emotional volatility, just up and down and bouncing off the walls. Online echo chambers where all you do is hear from other guys who are so equally pissed off. Now, that's okay. I went through that phase myself. I was in there for a couple of years, quite frankly. But then I'm pretty old, so I had a lot of stuff built up. But the danger is getting stuck there. You don't want to be stuck in that rage because it becomes corrosive. It becomes corrosive to your own heart and to your own mental well-being. What are the symptoms? Well, explosive anger, misanthropy, black and white thinking. Yeah, you can see how this is not a great place to live long term. Recommended modalities? Men's anger processing groups, not anger management, but real masculine emotional integration. Shadow work coaching to safely process the rage and use it constructively. Build yourself into being more of the man you wish to be. Narrative therapy, that helps to differentiate between justified anger, because there's plenty of that, and just plain old destructive resentment. Now, men overall, you guys, we deserve better support. Now, men aren't just angry, quite frankly, they're wounded. Most therapy spaces are not, I repeat, are not designed for male trauma. They're feminized or they're judgmental at the least. Why and how? Well, 80% of all mental health professionals are women. And I'm going to guess at this. There's no hard statistics. Nobody's done the research. But in my experience, roughly 50%, roughly half of the men in the mental health industry are male feminists. That's why male-focused therapy and coaching is so essential. Now, I'm building a referral network here. That's what this system and this channel is all about. And all of the practitioners of every type, ranging from life coaches all the way up through to psychotherapists, all of them have been vetted. Not a single one of them have been included without vetting by me personally. So you must understand, you're not broken. You were betrayed, and you can recover. Now, healing starts with telling yourself the truth, and that is the truth about yourself. Sometimes it's hard to admit. And once you've told yourself the truth, then rebuilding with brotherhood, structure, and purpose. We are men, and part of that means we're made to carry burdens, not be buried by them. Your pain is valid, and your comeback is real. So I'm going to ask you to like, commit, and subscribe like everybody does on YouTube. And I'm also going to ask that you share this with a man who's been through the system at one level or another. If you're a man looking for help, please go to my website. The link is in the description below. And if you're a male mental health worker interested in working with men who need and want your guidance and your support, contact me via my email address in the description below. Thank you for your time. Let's heal together.